Ladies and gentlemen, I think my next guest needs no introduction, but I will say that he is the man that you might know. You might have seen him, you might have heard about him. Now we're going to talk with him about something that you are interested in. We talk about ProSiebenSat.1 because he is the new CEO. It's Bert Habets. You did the first thing that I saw is you do something that only presidents do. You did when you say hello to someone, you will do this. You know, you will do this and you will touch the elbow.
Okay.
This is something that only presidents do.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, somehow you knew it. So, welcome to this show.
Well, great to be here.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's my first, I think, public appearance since a long time in Germany.
Yeah. And usually we have musicians sitting here, actors, people from, I don't know, like people that call themselves celebrities.
Yeah.
And now it's you. So you are the new CEO of ProSiebenSat.1. This is what I said. Of course, the people expect a lot, but what did you expect? So when you look back, really a personal view back on the, let's say, the last 4 months since you're in the job, what are your experiences?
It's a lot of change, a lot of new faces, a lot of new impressions. And it's actually not even only for the last 4 months. It's actually for the whole year that was full of change. Related to ProSiebenSat.1, it started with my supervisory role in May of last year. And then followed up by my appointment of CEOs starting in November. So that was all in a very short sequence. And I think I really enjoyed the introduction period. I took the time to really travel the group, get to know the people, get to know the group. It's a big group with a lot of different businesses. So that takes a while to discover it. So I visited, obviously, the entertainment colleagues, but also on the commerce and ventures part. I visited a lot of businesses, Flaconi, Verifox, Jochen Schweizer MyDays. We went to Austria to meet the Austrian colleagues there in a very intense agenda. And obviously the joint people and many more colleagues to come, because I'm still doing it as we speak.
And how do you manage that? Not everyone is like polishing the offices and everyone's like behaving extra smart because the CEO is coming. How do you really get to know the people? How do you have this closer, real look at the thing?
Yes, it's really explicitly everybody to kind of move a little bit away the PowerPoints and start a candid dialogue on what we need to do in the group, which is not always easy in your first encounter with people. But I think I'm getting there, that people are opening up and are really to also demonstrate on what they think is needed in the company, which is obviously then sharpening my view on what we need to do as a group.
Before you were joining ProSiebenSat.1, you were working in different positions for the RTL group. And you were, for RTL Netherlands, you have been the CEO, and for the entire RTL group. So what experience did you gain there that is particularly valuable for your new job?
When I was at RTL, there was a pan-European footprint, whereas ProSiebenSat.1 is more focused on the DACH region. And the nice part of the DACH regions is that we can actually tap into a lot of synergy potentials between the countries and learn from each other on how to organize ourselves, which was less the case at RTL Group. So I think that's a very interesting aspect. One common goal that we all are working on and need to focus on is to become much more digital, and to become digital by really pushing ourselves and embracing the change that is needed. Without fear. Doing it without fear, I think, is something we all need to work on from all levels in the organization.
You spent your whole business life, nearly your whole entire business life, working for the media industry. why didn't you change the business? Why didn't you go to, I don't know, somewhere else? Because we also had people working for jobs in the media industry that came from quite other industries. So why is this creative surrounding so important for you?
It's a great question, because I've been out in the industry for 2 years and then decided to go back in. And when I reflected on it, I think there are really 2 elements that make the difference for me to be involved in this industry and why I like it so much. I think it's first of all the people, and secondly the pace of change in the industry. Because first of all, pace of the industry, I think we are in a business where you basically need to reinvent yourself every 2-3 years. And if you don't reinvent it, you will be overtaken by competition. So this challenging climate is something I really like, and to work with teams in order to find the right solutions on how to build a business. And if I look at the people aspect of it, what always intrigued me is to build a team with very different capability sets, very different characters, like we have in media companies. We have people that sell our advertising. We have people that produce the shows. We have hosts, we have influencers, we have more and more technicians in our company preparing our digital products. And at the end of the day, they all need to work together in a coherent way.
But how
that to orchestrate that dynamic is something I really like.
So my question would be, how do you yourself get inspired? Because you also, as a CEO, you come to a new company and everyone's looking at you and said, okay, what's your new fresh idea? You got to bring your own story, you got to give your footprint to everything, and everyone's expecting something really big to come. So how do you personally get inspired and get new fresh ideas?
Well, I think the first logic and important step is to listen. If you're new to the game, you just listen first, because there's a lot of knowledge and experience in this company that you need to understand before making judgment calls. And then I really believe in the concept that the executive board or the CEO doesn't know it all. So we need to do this together, and we need to rely on also the people working with us on this to do a good job on a daily basis. And we can only create this atmosphere if we very closely align on where we want to go as a company, to really spend time in making sure that everybody is on the same page, and then execute. Because strategy is one thing, executing it properly is far more difficult, in my view. And for that, we need everybody to be on board.
Yeah, so you got to find the perfect position to stop listening and start doing stuff.
Yes. Then besides that, I also like being out there in the industry to talk to, obviously, everybody. And I tend to actively invite people to share new ideas out of my regular agenda. If you have a great idea that hasn't been discovered yet in this industry, more than welcome to share it.
We have to, even though it's maybe a bit hard, but we also have to look back on the year 2022. It was hard for everybody. Nearly every business suffered under the circumstances of the year 2022. Also, the media industry had a very special year, I think. How would you, of course, professional, but also personally, look back on the year 2022 for all the media industry and especially for ProSiebenSat.1?
Yeah. I think, well, we all on a high level know, obviously, how difficult the year 2022 was. I think on a personal note, what I found very difficult was to see my children struggle with the fact that there is a war, which they have never experienced, and they were completely, as we all were, not familiar with the theme, and it was actually scaring them a lot. So I found that very confrontational, if I have to say. Now, if you translate that to the business, the war obviously had a huge impact on the macroeconomic outlook, on the inflation rates, energy prices going up, causing a very difficult second half of the year for across the whole group, basically, across the entertainment, commerce and ventures, and Parship Meat Group. So when I started in November, we immediately needed to very actively manage the company on the result basis, which was tough, which already had been done by my colleagues in a very active manner. But given the fact that the impact of the macroeconomic change was so big, that we needed to prepare for all scenarios. And that was quite difficult if you're just new into a role.
But we don't want to leave the viewers and everybody in front of the screen with only these kind of thoughts, which are important. And of course, you gotta take the challenge. But is there something, if you look back, that currently lifts your mind up? So that's maybe a good fact that you can remember.
On a positive note of last year, I think besides us continuing to innovate and launch new formats, which we will only accelerate going forward in our program grids and in our digital offers, I think a very positive note for me was the launch of our news service. We took that in-house after for all the channels. So 60 new colleagues started in new positions. We started the news broadcast for all of our channels, including the news that is integrated in our digital service Join. And I think I'm very proud that we have insourced this, because I think first off the fact that it has very promising results, strong ratings since we insourced it, so that's always very tempting. But also having a news organization inside your organization creates new ideas for programming. Besides the fact that I think we as a company think it's very important to have news, to have an independent news organization in the German landscape, an additional one. And it really represents on what we also want to embrace and what we want to be as a company.
Of course, it's really important to look back, but it's more important to understand everything, what happened there in 2022, and have a look in the future. So this is what you just said. You said, okay, we have to take the risk, we have to do new stuff. We don't know how it works. Now we found out that one big thing already works, and it might work in the near and in the far future. I want to know more about the streaming platform Join. Can you tell us a bit more about Join? Because, of course, we have Join, we know it. There were a bit of changes going on there. And we would like to know more about this.
Join obviously has a bit of a history, as it was part of a joint venture for many years. So the good news there is that we onboarded Join upon the first day of my start as CEO in the company, November 1st. And we really are now in control of our own destiny in developing the service. So that is, I think, a great achievement, an important one. If we then look on what to do with the service, it's not far from an easy assignment, because if you look at the current streaming landscape, there is a lot of competition. And as you also may know, a lot of the big players are heavy loss-making in this field. The top streamers reported a 10 billion loss in total over the last year. So there's a huge industry challenge in this domain, while at the same time, we understand that this is a big part of our future. So we need to position our Join service in a different way versus our competitors. And that's why we have agreed and come up after extensive dialogue with all the teams to position Join as a freely accessible service for the whole family in the premium content domain. That's a long sentence to cover what we want to be, and we're at the very beginning of starting to build this. But it effectively means that we look to our existing program based across the channels, and we will add this with new programming, also with new talents to be part of this program. We have a huge talent factory in Studio 71, but also the presenters on TV, etc., will be openly invited to also join us. That is the beauty of the brand name we have there, to join us in this dialogue and to really start creating new formats for this platform. It's also meant to be an open invitation for our industry, for industry partners. So producers, other broadcasters, publishers could all join that platform and take a stand in developing content for different target groups.
Are there any special streaming highlights that you personally look forward to see in the near future?
Well, in the meanwhile, I became a big fan of Jerks, the format. But needless to say, for me, the joint platform is a very important service for watching the ProSiebenSat.1 programs. Yeah. Because I normally get home late. Sometimes I see your show because the 11 o'clock slot is my prime time slot.
Yeah, my problem is that I sleep too early to watch my own show. So I'm also a heavy Join user if I want to correct myself. Okay. So if I see something that I want to maybe re-watch to see what can I do better or even less worth, then I use Join. Maybe for this, but in general, is there something more that you can tell us about the outlook for 2023? Because we want to know more about the future. Everyone is looking this interview, and of course the big question, which is all above, is what is going on in 2023? What are the big highlights? What are your plans? Which part of the process is right now going on?
If you look at the macroeconomic picture, we expect the first half of 2023 still to be very difficult. And hopefully we will see a recovery in the second half of this year. But at the same time, it's also fair to say that there are so many unknown and uncertain factors that it still remains to be seen on whether that is a realistic outlook. We will also start our strategic dialogue as of March, basically. And that will be intensified throughout the whole year with all the colleagues, but also with the capital markets, investors, but also our business partners like advertisers and agencies going forward. So I'm really looking forward to that dialogue. And if you reflect and take one step back on us as a company, then you can basically say that we are in the business in competing for leisure time. We just want every minute of your leisure time to be spent on our services. So maximizing this consumption time across the TV screens that we have, join all the digital offers that we have, the podcast business that we have, the creator business, is really something we need to build upon going forward. To maximize this viewing time and then to actually diversify on how we generate revenues with that. Obviously through the traditional way of selling our advertising, but also increasingly through different monetization forms like commerce. We have a very big commerce and ventures division in the group. Highly successful. Our dating business is actually an extension of the commerce and ventures.
But it is like the whole connected to that.
Yeah. And the commerce and ventures business is actually a very creative way on how we engaged with German entrepreneurs in building new businesses. And we really like and build a very prominent position in that market space. And it's a very successful example, actually, on how we have been able to build new businesses with the power of TV and the power of our digital services.
Of course, all the people only will give their free time if they like what they see, if they like what they experience with spending their time with us.
What could we offer you to spend more time on our
money,
services?
Basically. No, it's just no. It's no. Of course, all the possibilities that I have. Now, I think what really is a good thing, so to just be honest on that one, is what I really like about working for ProSiebenSat.1 is that if I have an idea, everyone will listen. So, and the idea is not necessarily entertaining. You know, it doesn't have to be necessarily funny. It doesn't have to be necessarily something that you would expect on ProSiebenSat.1. And there are some things that we did together in the past where every TV pro knows that we won't have good ratings maybe in the first hand, but this is something that has to be on the program because we have to talk about things that are not nice to see, but they're necessary to be seen in public TV, to be shown to everyone in the world and to all the viewers that, of course, looking for spend a joyful leisure time. But sometimes you have to be confronted with topics that you can't cherry pick because those topics are in the world, and to have the opportunity to not only do the funny stuff, to do other stuff, this is really important for me.
Yes, like your documentary of sea rescue, for instance, or
Yeah, of course it's hard to see and it's not a problem that will be solved, but to have people around me that have the same idea of giving attention and spending attention and be responsible for the attention that is already here. And we have to reflect on stuff, and we have to connect those topics to the attention we already have.
Yeah.
So to not have to convince someone.
Yeah, and I think it's great that we can offer you that platform also for these social relevant themes. That because we also want to create an audience for that. It's maximizing viewing time or leisure time, but in a balanced way. Because you will also have to do that by addressing socially relevant themes that may not find an audience unless you address them. And that is, I think, a beautiful platform we are really committing to continue to offer.
This is something I really, really like, and of course, everything that I do here is the main thing that I'm here for. So, thanks for being at this show. Thanks for making this show happen.
And thank you for having me. It's been a real pleasure.
Yes, thanks for sharing the vision, and thanks for being here. Bert Habets, the new CEO of ProSiebenSat.1, was my guest today, and it was as interesting for you as it was for me. Thank you very much, Bert Habets.